I am Gregory, and this is Pensane. On the table, we have a very interesting pen. So, as you can see, it's a fountain pen made by Schneider, made in Germany. Schneider's not a brand you hear about very often at all. And this set really intrigues me. So this is the Schneider Seode Classic. Not sure what that means. Yeah, that's the back there. So let's take a look. Okay, so here it is out of the packaging. Let's put the cap on for the full effect. It just has Schneider embossed on the plastic there. Very angular clip. Very, very springy. Very springy. I like how the cap kind of continues the arc of the clip. It's a nice touch. Very unassuming pen. The cap pops on there quite strongly, actually. It does post. Makes it a little bit long, a little bit back heavy. Not too bad. I really like the nib. It's very stubby, and this is a medium nib. It doesn't appear to specify that on the nib, but it did on the packaging, so we will trust that. All right, so you have a plastic body here. The plastic kind of feels like the plastic of the Platinum Prefount. This feels like kind of rubberized plastic, and much like other pens we know and may love or may hate, it does have these sort of facets, two on either side and then one on the bottom, that kind of suggest where and how to hold it. They're not as pronounced like on the Lamy Safari. They're not quite as pronounced. I think it's actually quite comfortable. You don't feel any ridges or anything, so that's very nice. All right, let's take a look inside. This plastic all the way around. I think the only metal part on this pen is the nib. And you know, let's be honest, this pen is intended for kids, students, young people. So it did come with these ink cartridges. I do have to say, it's a very strong click when you post it, and you have to pull pretty hard to get the cap off. Very strong click. I'm actually kind of surprised how comfortable this pen is to hold. So we want to see it right, and we want to see what the heck this thing is. Let's bring out the paper. I suspect it's not going to be ready just yet. Oh, wow. that loaded up with ink very, very quickly. So let's go for it. So this is so on this Rhodia paper, and I apologize for the spelling error there. On this Rhodia paper, there's significant feedback. I wouldn't call it scratchy. I would describe it more like drag. You kind of feel like there's drag as you're writing. I might compare it to a pencil. Wow, pretty dry. And let's see here. No flex. A little bit of flex, but it's pretty darn stiff. And I felt like I was kind of digging into the paper there. Just... Okay, my initial impression is favorable, especially considering this was a cheap pen set. Whether or not I would write with this often, I can't say. But there's one more thing to look at. That is this. So you see it says erase, Schneider Corey, rewrite. So this is very, very interesting. And this is actually, I guess it just pulls off. This is actually the reason I got this pen. Supposedly it's erasable. So this is, at least the ink is. I believe that was the blunt end, and I think, yeah, and then they have a fine end. So whatever's in here interacts with this ink to erase it. And as you see, this is quite dry, quite dry. So let's just, let's see what we can do about that. Wow. Oh, wow. That's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. There's hardly a trace of what was written. That's pretty amazing. Now, the question is, can we write over that? Or does it leave something? So whatever is on there is still resisting the ink, or erasing the ink, actually. Now, it could just be a matter of it needing to dry. So we did it right here, it was still wet. Let's give it a moment to dry over here. Okay, that's a couple minutes there that I let it sit. And again, over here is where I wrote pretty much right after erasing, and it did not take the ink. Let's try over here now. Now it's still Still resisting it. And that was after a couple minutes. So that's the interesting thing about this. So it says erase, but then it says rewrite. And that is not rewriting. And it's like, okay, well, in order to rewrite, how long do you have to wait? That's the real question. I suspected that would happen, and that's one reason I did this test. There are other similar inks on the market by other brands, and they have the same issue. Whatever liquid is in here either takes forever to dry, or it leaves a residue that continues to resist the ink. So how useful is this? Sure, you can erase it, but how long until you can write in that area again? And if you can erase something, but then you can't write in that area, how useful is it? That's the question. All right, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try this again. Yeah, it's still resisting the ink. Each time it seems slightly, ever so slightly darker, but I mean, it's been a good 4 minutes by now. And it's just not, it is not accepting that ink in that place anymore. So I have to say, given that, okay, you can erase, but then you can't write in that area anymore, and the fact that there's considerable drag as you're writing, despite how comfortable the pen may be to hold, I honestly can't recommend this pen. So that's unfortunate, because you know, if you could truly erase the ink, which technically you can, but then if you could then write there, that would really be something. But that is not the case, unfortunately. So although this is kind of a fun, gadgety pen, not a horrible pen by any means, it's just not enough to be able to recommend this. So anyway, there you have the Schneider Seode Classic with Schneider blue erasable ink that then permanently makes it so you can't write on the paper. Oh yes, let's give it one more try. Yeah, it's been a good 7 minutes by now, and it still doesn't write. So yeah, some products make you wonder how they make it on the market, and did they test their own product? Anyway, this has been too long of a video on an interesting pen, but one that ultimately fails. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.